Welcome to the Boom Boom Room, y'all, where there's no topic too big or small, where we talk about it all. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Boom Boom Room. I'm Ashes back here with you, and I got a special guest. I was on his show, and he was nice enough to come on my show, and it's Tom Franklin from the Eye of Jupiter. Without further ado, how you doing, Tom?
Doing good, man. A long day of tutoring people from all over Europe how to speak English.
Wow, I would give up the first minute on that. I don't think I can handle that, dude.
It can be stressful, but at the same time, it's I love seeing the progression. So, like, you know, where they can't go to school and talk to the teachers for their students, and now they can go there and express themselves and without using a translator. So,
yeah,
it's cool. I get paid for it, and it's fun, but there is days that it's nerve-wracking. I agree.
Yeah, well, everything's nerve-wracking, you know. There's good, bad, and everything. But I bet it does feel good and rewarding when they do learn. I mean, you know. Yeah, it's kind of like when I used to be a farm painter back in the day, and I'd paint farms, and you know it looked like shit at first, and then when you get done, you sit back and look at it, and you're satisfied.
What's a farm painter?
Just paint like, farm barns.
You mean like the barns and shit?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I used to paint the roofs, barns, granaries, you know, and it'd be all rusty and crappy looking. Then when you get done, you know, you're satisfied with your work, you know, and they're happy. That's the best part. Of course, getting paid is, but when the person you work for look at it and say, "Damn, that looks good," you know.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with taking pride in what you do, man, no matter what it is. And it should be something that you enjoy doing, whether it's shining shoes or painting a barn. As long as you're doing that and you like doing that, and that's your happiness, then I think that's the best thing you could do.
Yep, exactly, Tom, you know. But before we get started talking, you want to tell people a little bit about yourself and where they can find you?
Yeah, my name is Tom Franklin. I am the host of the Eye of Jupiter podcast, where we talk about everything strange, weird, and unusual, supernatural, dogman, Bigfoot, UFO encounters, abductions, psychedelics, consciousness, anything that floats my boat and gets me moving along. I'm a former member of the United States military, 4 years active duty, spent 20 years of my life living in Europe in the country of Germany. I reside now in Mexico, and I speak fluent German, and I'm well behind the eight ball in Spanish, but it's because it's a lot harder. And I just interview people. You can check me out. You can find me on the Eye Jupiter at Facebook, YouTube. You can go over to on the MP3 side, wherever you get those at, you know, Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those kind of things. And I put out a live show every Friday. You can see us at 6:45 Eastern time over on my channel. You can come in the chat and come hang out with us.
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed your show. You've had some great guests on there.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, that last guest, that was Bruce
Brown.
Oh man, he's a very interesting cat. He's seen some stuff. I had to watch that 2 times.
The one I had him on with.
Yeah, I watched it 2 times because when I was watching it, I was busy doing some kind of shit, and then you know I couldn't pay attention. I got ADHD, so I had to watch it again. You know, because my mind will wander.
Yeah, it'll do that to me too. Like I don't know, man. He's so I had him on once, and like I said, I did a cold call on Bigfoot believers and other creatures from Facebook. Big Facebook channel, or excuse me, group with like Ron Moorhead and MK Davis and Daryl Denton and a whole bunch of many other people, Jennifer Appleton amongst others. And I just said, hey, I'm looking for somebody to interview, and he hit me up, and then he came on and he talked about his Bigfoot encounters ever since he was a kid, fishing. And then there was one time, so he's a former like state trooper or policeman or something in Tennessee. And he was like, yeah, there's one time I got called to a scene where somebody hit one, and it broke both of its legs on the side of the road, like 20 yards off the road there. And they called him, started doing a report. The thing is over there breathing heavy and can't run away. And then like these men in like, you know, black suits with tinted out window cars, and just, okay, you guys can leave now. He went to follow up on it, and nothing happened. Like there was nothing to be found. Like they completely like whitewashed the whole police report and everything. So And then I had him on this past Friday, and we were talking about some of his paranormal experiences that he had while he was on duty. And there was like a lost time one with he's seen a plane that he thought was going to crash. And turned out the plane was something connected to the Manhattan Project.
Oh,
something crazy. And I was like, what? I actually pulled up the plane during the show and go, this plane? He goes, that's the one I seen. I seen people in the window knowing that they weren't going to be able to make it over the ridgeline. They were going to hit the mountain. Called the fire station, called Fort Campbell, everything.
Yeah.
Never was there. And somehow he found out through somebody contacted him and said, yeah, he used to be part of like the Manhattan Project and some base there in northern Tennessee. And that was amongst other crazy things that he was telling me.
Yeah.
So going to have him back on again, talk about some Dogman stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, dude. So he's a cool guy. Great guy.
Yeah, he was on Vic's show, Dogman Encounters, and he had him on 2 different times within a week. And man, I had to listen to that 2 times. It was some interesting
Don't tell
stuff.
me anything. You know me. I like to hear it firsthand.
Yeah,
I haven't heard it yet. I intentionally stay away. It's not because of laziness. Well, a little bit of laziness, but mostly my genuine reaction. Like, what? You did what? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, or you seen what? And it's fun for me as well as the audience, because you can have all these guests on, you know, but I think the thing that people connect to is the personality and like, oh, I never thought of asking that, or that's an interesting way of thinking about that, and you kind of draw your own audience by being who you are.
Exactly, you know.
I think so.
Well, that's just like when on my gaming channel, I suck at gaming, but you know, people show up. You know, I guess for my personality, I guess mostly because I am not good at gaming, but I try to, you know, be myself though. You know, I try not to be nothing that I ain't. You know, and
well, you can't be. It can't be anybody else because they're all taken, but no one's like you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Everyone else is taken.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as Bruce, all I could say is this: the stories and the things that's happened with him is the most interesting Dogman stories I've ever heard. So
really,
like
Martin Groves esque.
Yes, close
really?
to it. You know, not as you know in depth.
Who's another? I had a gentleman on a long time ago when I was on with Rye. You were on Rye's. You were on Codex of Curiosities with Rye. We used to be on the same channel.
Yeah,
and we had on, what the hell is his name? I can't think of his name. But he's another. Also, he's seen one somewhere in. He was with his friends as a kid in Dayton, Ohio, I think it was, and it was in this old industrial area. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, I've heard that story a few times. Yes, that's a good one.
What is his name? Matt Imsh. That's his name. Matt Imsh.
Yeah.
And his Planet 412, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yes, Bruce was on. Let me go so I can direct people to those episodes. So the lives are not numbered, but there's the one that just recently came out. And the episode with the Bigfoot is not scheduled. Visibility. Public.
Well, see, you know, I got a Discord, and on my Discord, I've got a channel that says Cryptics. So I upload like you, Jim's, Josh's, Daniels, all you guys' shows. You know, all my closest, you know, buddies. I'll upload y'all's shows to that, so my people on Discord, my gaming people, you know, can watch them. So
so it's the one with the first one with Bruce was episode 97.
Okay.
So I'm up over 100 now. So woo, at least on that one, and that's just those. And the live ones, I'm like 88. So I've done almost 200 episodes now.
Wow, man. Well, I guess Tom. Whatever you want to talk about, we can. Some experiences. First of all, if you do you want to tell everybody why you started your channel? I mean, what got you into it?
Well, I left Germany because of the Kaplik, the old puncheroo, the shot, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I just gave up everything, and actually, you know, I always spoke about being, you know, Americans and freedom of liberty. Liberty is like one of that, and freedom of speech are the two things I hold very dear as an American. And that pressure over in Europe, especially with the German mentality connected with the COVID mentality. So I just busted out of there, sold everything, gave up my job, my house, ended up losing my wife over it, the whole nine. and moved here. Started working as a concrete worker in Mexico. Did some solar energy stuff. Learned some of that, and I ran into this gentleman who helped me kind of transition, which is Rye, and he just started talking about it. And he asked me if I've had any experiences, and then I just kind of told him I did. And he's like, dude, we should do a show. And I was like, yeah, we should. And we just kind of started that way. And then we just, for like creative reasons, we just kind of separated. He's different types of personalities. A great guy. Yeah. He's just, he can just keep hammering away where I have to have a little space and step back and then hit it,
Yeah.
And I just, being a stand-up comic all the years I've done it, in all languages that I've done it in 3 languages, Spanish, German, and English, mostly English. And then being a frontman for a metal band for many years, it just kind of lended itself to doing it.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in just talking to people from all over the world, honestly. And it's just kind of, I've always been interested in it because of my experiences that I had as a kid. And the first thing that ever happened to me was, well, many things that happened to me, but the first like really strange one that I can't describe or really... Well, I can describe it, but I don't know what it means or what it is that when I was 8, we moved to my grandmother's house because my dad was in between jobs. And so it's a row home. It's on 337 Fulton Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland. I think it's 21223 or 7, one of the two. And so you can look it up on Google Maps if you'd like. Yeah. And so the house is a row home. So Baltimore and Philadelphia are known for their row homes. And so when you go up the steps, it's like, so one room is to the left, that's to the front of the house. And then to the right, you go through 2 rooms. And then in the back, there's a bathroom. So, and there's no hallway. So when people go to the bathroom, when you have to sleep, they actually walk through your rooms. And me and my sister, I was 8 in '88 and she was 7. And so we stayed in the same room. And we were in the last bedroom before the bathroom. And over a series of a couple nights, I don't remember how many it was, but every time my half-sister came, so she's older than us, she's about 13 at the time, every time she came over, like, weird shit would happen. It started like we tried to go to bed one night, the parents on a Friday night, because she would have her on the weekends. Hey, all right, time to go to bed. It's 9:30, whatever it was. Go to bed. We turn the lights off. We're trying to go to sleep. We're laying in the bed, and all of a sudden, Ashes, the freaking lights would start switching off and on. Damn. Just flipping back and forth. Then I'm looking to see if there's anyone. I can literally see the light switch from where I'm laying in the bed, and there's no one standing there. Yeah. And we kind of like freaking out, like, what the hell is this? I was not the brave one. I will never. It was my little sister Jenny. She was the brave one, and my older sister was the second bravest, and I was the really scared one, or the chicken shit, if you if you want to use synonyms and stuff. Yeah. And so she went downstairs. The parents were like, you guys are playing. She's playing with you. Your older sister's messing with you. Stop messing around with her. Go to bed. So we're up there, and like I said, I'm just compiling them all. I don't remember. It kind of ramped up, and when she went away, it would go away during the week, only when she was there. And this, I don't know if it was the second time or it was the same night. There was we was laying in the bed, lights were switching, flipping off and on, and then we had these shoes. So the room, when you come into it, the door swung into the room to the left, and the room kind of opened up to the right there. And that's important in a minute. So there's these shoes along the floor on the left side. So when you walk to the bathroom, you're walking past these shoes, and I don't know how many pairs of shoes there, and these shoes were being literally thrown at us, dude.
Wow.
They were flying off the floor and hitting my sister, and they're screaming. I'm getting hit. I'm not screaming. I'm just going, oh, like a guy does, and or a boy at the time, and just kind of coiled up and really afraid, and getting nailed in the face, getting hit on my leg and arm, and it was really wild. And there's nobody throwing them, and we're screaming and yelling. And my sister goes downstairs again, and she's throwing shoes at you. Stop playing around. She comes up again. What do they say? Nothing. The shoes are not being thrown anymore. She flipped the light switch on. Okay, the shoes are not being thrown anymore. I'm laying in the bed, trying to go to bed again after being frightened half to death, or it's another time. But there's a space between the bed and the wall, and I felt like something reached up and put its hand on my chest.
Damn.
And I jumped out of the bed, screaming, what happened? Something touched me. Oh, my God. And I'm crazy. Sister goes down the steps again. She comes back up. I'm standing in the doorway where the door swings into the room. So the door swings into my right on my side. In other words, not on her side, in on my side. She's walking up and she gets maybe 2 foot in front of the door, and I go, what did they say? And then wham, the door slammed in her face and swung past mine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I didn't touch it, dude.
Wow.
And I was frozen. You know, you had that fight or flight, but there's also frozen, and I was the scariest thing. I've been to the Kosovo War, dude, you know, and I've seen mass graves and all that shit, and that was scarier than that. So she opens the door. Did you slam the door in my face? No. Okay, I'll take you back to your bed. And she basically just like turned me around and kind of just like escorted me back to my bed. My older sister got up and said, here, I'll put a blanket on you.
Yeah.
And I just kind of covered under the blanket. And then sometimes during the same night, that one I do remember, it felt like there was like wind or air coming underneath the sheets, and you can see it like in waves, like something was blowing under it, and you could feel it on your legs and stuff. It was just, and that's all the things I really remember. I'm sure there's some other things. My sister said she's seen something that I didn't see, but I did have her on my show a long, long time ago, or the show when I was with Rye, and she told me she was 7, and she still swears to this day, and I believe her because she was there for the other stuff. Do you remember you remember that show Alf, right?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, so she had a little Alf doll next to the shoes that sat in like a little high chair, like for kids. Mm-hmm. And she said at one point this thing was walking around or dancing, or that's how she said it. And I don't remember seeing that, but that's what she said.
Wow.
But, and that's then so I was messed up for quite a few years, man. Like, so anytime the house would creak, no matter where we lived, I would always just be coil up in fear.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing that got me to be interested in this kind of stuff.
Well, do you, was it the house, you think, or was it the individual, one of you guys that attracted it?
Yeah, I think it's both, because from what I've read about, or heard about, or seen podcasts about, is that when young women are in that age, when they're about to cross over into adolescence, there's a hormonal thing that happens, and if they've been troubled, for lack of a better word, and I found out later that this was true, and I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
That. Right, awful. And my half sister, and then those kind of things can happen. So there's that, and then my grandmother told me years later, she was across the street at Miss Brooks's house, I remember now, and she told me that one night she saw like a black veiled like entity or something going in and out of the houses, like through the walls. So I went back to that house maybe 3 years later after we moved out in '88. I moved about, 5 blocks away on another street. And we went back there because Miss Brooks's daughter moved in there, and they were playing like Nintendo. This is back in those days. Yeah. And go upstairs. I'm visiting Miss Brooks. Go upstairs over to the house, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm in this house again." Yeah. And I went into that room, and nothing happened. But I got to tell you, man, I felt heavy. Yeah. Actually, it was happening to us, and I told my mother I said, we got to switch rooms, because they were sleeping in the first room when you make that right. We were sleeping in the one behind them. And she switched the rooms, and she told me also years later, Tom, I never told you this, but when I was in that back room, I also felt really uneasy, and I needed to get out of there too. It made a lot of sense that you guys wanted to leave. So yeah, there's something with that place. Yeah,
definitely. I think that those old houses, they attract. You don't know what's happened. You don't know the past of them. There could have been some kind of satanic family in them. There could have been, like you said, trauma. I think that, negative trauma, which all trauma is negative, but I think certain spirits attach itself to that energy. Because they feed off of that, like fear, and it's just pure evil, man. And but yeah, I believe that because I've been in situations where houses and other people's attracted them. So
yeah, you have to imagine too. These are old Baltimore row homes, and if you're a historian of any type, or you know anything about the history of the United States, you know that we went from east to west. Yep. And so Baltimore is one of the cities in the original 13 colonies. And so these houses are probably built in the 1800s.
Damn.
So they're old, and they had the old. I don't know if you guys had this where I think you're Ohio.
No, I'm in Arkansas and Oklahoma.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Pardon. They had the slat wood with the plaster on it, with the slats of wood with the plaster. It had the old. You can still see the old oil lamps like that were on the wall, and people would still just go ahead and put electricity in them, but you can still see the stains and some of the woodwork from the oil lamps, from the whale oil and stuff.
Wow.
So that's how old these places are.
Damn, that is pretty old, you know. And well, I grew up in Oklahoma, right, not far from here, and you know, that's a lot of Native American, you know, land. And you know, I've told you before on your show, I grew up close to these Native American 2,000-year-old you know, burial mounds, you know, and there's a lot of high strangeness that's happened around there. Even when my grandma, she passed away at 101, and like 6 months before she died, and she would say that she'd see a lot of Native Americans around, you know, for months.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, children are the same way. They'll tell you about like past life sometimes, or they're open, and when people get old and they're close to the end, they'll see stuff too. So I don't know what it is with this middle part, but I had a gentleman on, Marcus Ellis, who is the North American Dogman Project's like president for the state of Mississippi, and he went out with M.K. Davis to some burial mounds down, because you know Mississippi, there's all burial mounds down to there. And he was hearing some crazy stuff. He also saw that huge black cube. It's an 8-foot squared black cube that just appeared out of nowhere.
Wow.
In the middle of some wildlife protection area.
It's just wild.
Yeah, man. We live in a weird place, man. Not just the States.
Yeah, do you think that all this paranormal stuff has always happened, or do you think it's just kind of ramping up?
I don't know what to think about it, man. That's a good question, man. Has it always happened? I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess if you're a biblical person, I'd imagine you could have something to say about that. Yeah. I'm a man of God, just not religion. You know that. Yeah. We've always been cool with that. I don't know, man. You would see things, certain cave art, certain stories that were passed down, certain things maybe even in the Bible that would say, oh, there's some kind of paranormal going here. Yeah. Something's happening here. What it means, I don't know, man. That's somebody else's job to interpret it for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, have you had any kind of cryptic encounters?
I don't know if you would consider it a cryptid encounter, but there's a thing here. I live in Mexico, and I live on the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Yeah. So if you know anything about that, that's Mayans. That's all Mayans. And even my girlfriend, my current girlfriend, she's Mayan. Yeah. 100% with the short necks, the long arms. It's not racist, guys. Look it up. That's kind of known in anthropology. And they have a lot of mysterious stuff down here. They got this place called Pomuch. It's a cemetery that every year in the Dias de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, so it's right after Halloween, in this particular cemetery, it's kind of famous now, they will actually go through and take out their loved ones and clean off their bones and stuff. And then and the more stuff that's still there, for lack of a better, YouTube type wording, the happier they are, because that means the family wants to stay around. Yeah. And then they kind of display that in like a box with candles and pictures of the person, and people just walk around the cemetery, greeting each other, saying hi, eating some food. So this place is that. So to give you some type of base of what's going on.
Yeah, I've seen many of videos of that.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of videos. I guess it was on YouTube, and I thought it was some kind of documentary. I thought that was fascinating, but I also don't think that I would be participating in that at all.
No. Well, we used to do the same thing, though, Americans. About 100 years ago, we used to take death photos. You remember that?
Yep.
They have a special room where after the person was deceased, they would dress them up in their favorite suit or their best suit or their favorite dress, put them in a room in a big chair or couch, and sit on the couch and take pictures with them. So we did weird stuff too, man. So
yeah, well, in my in my culture, I'm English Romney. Back in the day, they used to, when they'd have the old gypsy wagons, when they died, they would burn them. And I know traditions now, of course, you can't burn nobody's home, but like when a loved one passes away, we don't burn everything they got. We'll take like an item of clothes and just burn it. And,
Okay.
and like at funerals, they'll take pictures, but they won't pose with them. They'll take pictures of, the casket or stuff like that. And, I'm not too much into that. I don't want to see the last moment, picture I have of a loved one of them in the casket, but some of them do, just weird, different cultures intrigues me, to see what,
Me too.
What people do and stuff like that. I think that's fascinating.
And times change too. Things move on.
Yeah.
And it's so to get back to your question about the cryptids, there's this thing here that's called Alux. So ALUX, or Aluxes plural. So ALUXES. And this is like a conjured being of sorts.
Yeah.
And it's between 2 to 3 foot tall, something like that. A cherub entity. So kind of like the best known one is like Cupid.
Yeah.
So it's kind of pudgy and kind of half naked, kind of. But these are, they look like Native American. So they're brown skin. They got black hair. And supposedly, I haven't seen it. Okay. But everyone here, damn near everyone believes them. There's super religious people who won't. The Catholics do, but the evangelicals here don't. Just to give you a little bit of the Catholics are a little bit more, exorcism-like and stuff like that. So, and they all have altars in their house too. All of them. The crosses with the candles and the people, everybody. She puts one up every year. Yeah. I don't know. It's their culture. I don't try to intervene. So what happens, the Mayans, they would want to protect their land against, see, people understand, people think Maya was like a country. No, it was nation states, kind of like in Greece, where every little city was its own kind of country. So the Mayans would fight amongst each other. So this city would fight with that city and so on and so forth. So to protect their land against other invaders or other people even in their community with corn, because corn comes from Mexico. Do you guys love corn? This is where it's from.
Yeah.
So they would make this entity using like some type of black magic, Mayan black magic. And so I got to look it up again. I think it's a 7-day ritual or a 4-week ritual or a 7-week ritual, something like this. It takes some number of time, a certain amount of time, and I don't remember. I should look that up. And so it's like not a sacrifice, but kind of like an offering thing where they make this like a figurine out of like mud and blood and dirt and whatever. And then they offer it like corn and some other kind of food like papaya or something. And then they do like these incantations and this spelling kind of thing. And then after the 7th day or the 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it was, this thing then disappears. And the reason I mention this, not only is it very famous here, I mean, everyone has either seen them or knows somebody who's seen one. Supposedly, so I was talking to a hunter who was fixing my car. He's a mechanic and also hunts. He showed me all the deer. He shot, yeah, dude. And I said, what do you know about Aluxes? And he goes, oh, dude, they're there. They're real. I'm like, what do you mean? Because he's always in the jungle here.
Oh, yeah?
We have whitetail in the jungle here. We have 3 different types of deer here. Just 3 different types. There's like 2 little ones, and even the whitetail are small here, but they're here.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, anytime you're near a hill, you'll get rocks thrown at you sometimes when you're out there. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know what it is, but you get rocks thrown at you, which is kind of sounds like Bigfoot activity, but it's not. So one time, I bought this property, I was telling you, I bought 10 acres here in the middle of nowhere, solar panels, well, self-sufficient. And me and my daughter were out there roasting some marshmallows near this, part of my property is a hill, goes up about 100 feet. And we're just sitting there talking, having a good time. Hey, we're in Mexico. And then all of a sudden, dude, there's this rock just comes flying out of the woods and hits, like you can hear it hit the leaves and fall behind me. And it freaked me out, but I got to play cool because she's 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Daddy's getting a little tired, baby. Can we go to sleep? Okay, Daddy, we'll go bed. And we go to bed. So that's my encounter with them. But I've heard encounters. There's one in particular that's really frightening. So So this is a guy I worked with. His name is Norberto. No, so it's Norbert, Robert, Norberto, Roberto.
Yeah.
So his name is Norberto, and his uncle, they owned a certain piece of property here in the city. There's some bigger parcels, and a lot of these. So the whole Yucatan is an outcrop of limestone. So there's a lot of caves. Yeah. And if you go into these caves, they call it mal vientos, or bad winds. And people will come out with like a stiff neck. They'll come out with a fever. They'll come out not being able to talk.
Wow.
So there's a cave on this dude's property, and they're sitting there having a couple beers on like a Friday or whatever. And the uncle says to the guy, he goes, "Hey, watch this." He pours a little glass of beer, lights a cigarette, puts it next to the glass of beer, sets it like in the corner of the property. And he said all of a sudden, they both seen this little fucking figure come out, take a sip of the beer and smoke the cigarette and take it into the tunnel with him. His friend they both ran away. Friend never came back, got a fever for 2 weeks. People have died with this fever. So that's here. It's not, the dog man and all that, but it's still like, what is that?
Well, you remember on your show I told you about that little figure or little creature jumped on my back. I don't know if you remember it on your show. I told the encounter when I was 7 or 8, and it was a little something jumped on my back and shook me, and then later on that night I looked out the window and I seen it running. It was like a couple feet tall, and all I remember seeing it like a furry legs or something. Like I don't know if it was wearing something fur or what it was. And at the time,
I think we missed that one, bro.
No,
we talked about the cold wind. We talked about the coldness on the thing. We talked about the house.
I think I did tell you, Tom. I think it did. Maybe I did, but I'm pretty sure I always tell it. I always lead out with that one.
I'm going to go back and look at our episode, man. Cause maybe I just have a little bit of onset slow Alzheimer's or something. I don't know.
Shit, I can't remember anything, but I always thought that it was a demonic or an imp or something like that, but I kind of think later on it might have been one of the little people, because in Oklahoma they have a lot of encounters of that in eastern Oklahoma, especially northeast Oklahoma.
Oh, the Puckwudgies.
Yeah. And but I mean, of course it's got to be supernatural to come in and out of the house, without opening the doors or anything. But, a lot of times when I'm listening to certain podcasts, I'll get a feeling to just cut them off. Like if they're talking about certain subjects, about demonic subjects, there's a feeling that says, yep, it's time to turn it off.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Not that it's really, okay, not that I'm scared of it, but I feel like it's going to bring something around me. Does that make sense?
Wow, because of your experiences that you've had.
Yeah.
Like you're reopening that thing.
Yeah,
I got you.
That's what I feel.
Makes sense.
And even with certain dog man or Bigfoot, no. But dog man, there's certain, I've listened to certain, mostly 90% of the interviews is fine. But there's something to be in an interview, it's just time to turn it off, because I feel like I'm going to attract some kind of something demonic.
I'll tell you something not to watch if you don't want to. You ever see Netflix has this Ed Gein documentary on, dude? Don't watch that.
I watched it. It's trash, man. It was trash.
I like the actor in it. I think he was great. I thought he did a great job, but it's too. They drug it out at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't need to be that, but it's too. Okay, I'm going to say it. It's too sexualized.
Yeah, it is.
It's too dark, and it's unnecessarily dark.
Yes. Very.
It's too graphic, even for me. Yeah. It's crazy. Too much.
Yeah, I didn't, okay.
I didn't like it. It made me feel bad, dude.
Yeah, it was not a good, wasn't a good show. But I'll tell you this here. As far as movies, I love horror movies, but anything with demonic possession, I will not watch it.
Oh, like The Exorcist or something.
I watched it and laughed at it years ago, but, it was stupid. But
it's my favorite horror movie.
Yeah, but there's certain ones I will not watch, like Insidious, or certain ones I'll get like a feeling, turn it off. Especially, and another thing, my brother told me this years ago, and I thought he was stupid. When I got older, I take heed. Anytime that you're watching a movie and they start speaking Latin, I turn that volume down, because you do not know what they're saying. I don't speak Latin. They could be saying some kind of spell you don't know, because a lot of these Holly weirdos, are demonic.
Dude.
Yeah.
I thought that was all BS, man, but the more you dig into it, whether it's that Harvey guy or P. Diddy or any of these guys, and then they're dark. The music industry is so dark. And me and you are metalheads.
Yeah.
And I know metalheads. You know what I mean? I listen to whatever. I love metal music. It's my heart and soul. But that mainstream stuff, like Lady Gaga, there was a 2000 or something. She was like crucified on the stage with the blood coming out of her mouth. And I'm like, this is art? I mean, I think Marilyn Manson is less offensive.
Yeah, I do.
He's just weird.
At least you know where he stands, Marilyn Manson.
Dude, great point.
Yeah, if somebody either, there's no gray area. It's black or white, dude. Either good or, or you're evil. And I think that, like I said, I made this podcast talk about whatever we want on here, and we can. But I think that 90% of Hollywood is demonic, man. It's all ran by demons. I think there's actually the higher ups are actually some form of high demonic angels just running the whole show. It's got to be.
Like, we were watching that show and I was talking about the Ed Gein stuff, and my girlfriend's Catholic, right? And she goes, the things that they were doing, that he was doing, and the thing that he was, the woman in World War II with the Jewish people, what she was doing to them, she goes, what human can do that? You have to be possessed by something, Tom. Look at that. And I go, man, I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I'm going to have to. I don't know what that is, but you can see also how something like that can affect people going down the line. They showed, so he was affected by what they were doing in World War II, and then it was Psycho came out with Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah. Right? And then it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a couple other movies that went down the line that were basically based upon a woman from World War II. Exactly. And what that did to Ed Gein's mind. So you can see how that touch of darkness, that touch of death, that touch of evil, the demonic evil, can kind of pass its way through. Yeah. And it kind of, I don't know, wars are just awful. And you can see, like, the first thing they like to do is they like to make a human being less than. That's the first thing you do. And then there's something wrong with them. They're not human, they're this, they're that, but they're not us. So that gives people then the green light. So it's like a kind of like a disease being passed through audibly that makes you get the green light to do something awful to somebody else. And that shit is dark, man. That shit is dark.
Yeah, I mean, I've been around people that, have no regard for anybody's feelings. Another human, it's always them. They don't care about hurting people's feelings. They're just demonically possessed, that you can look at another race or another human being and think you're better than them. I mean, that's all demonic. And I think Hollywood, like, you'll see a lot of these actors, man, they'll say they channel certain beings, when they do roles and stuff. And I think a lot of these horror movies, I think that actually there's entities of demonic realm is influencing them to do these movies.
Such a great point, because what an actor basically is like an empty vessel that something gets poured into. Yeah, yeah. And they think that they're doing it. So what they do is they train themselves to let something come in. Exactly. That's interesting. Exactly. I never even thought of that, man. Yeah. That's interesting. That's why I can never be a friend with an actor, ever. Yeah. So how do I know if you're being honest with me? Exactly. I'm an actor. You're going to have to go. Like, I like comics, but I hate comics who want to be actors. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I met a lot of those back in green rooms and stuff over in Germany. Like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to get this role in the movie, so I'm just going to get on stage and do some stand-up. I'm like, you're not trying to be the best stand-up you can be? No, I want to be a fucking, movie star or whatever, or an actor. And they're dog shit. They're not good at all. Yeah. They don't take it seriously. For me, I'm trying my best, but it's me that I'm channeling. Exactly. It's me on a more just way, it's more explosive, whatever word it is. But they are training themselves to be a vessel for something else. Now think about that. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it all boils down to, if you believe in the Bible or whatever, if not,
is that, the love of money is the root of all evil. And people will do anything, they'll sell their soul to the devil to get the money and power. And what
It's greed.
And
it's
greed,
one of the seven deadly sins.
And then
it's greed.
And then you'll see them when they're high up, they got everything. I mean, they can have any man, woman they want, anything, cars, money, and stuff. They're not happy. What do they end up doing? Offing themselves, ODing, doing something, just
doing something with the younger people.
Yeah, it's just from the pits of hell, man. And I've got friends from all spectrums, I've got friends that are atheists, Muslim, different ones, and they all respect me, what I believe and stuff, but it's all about this right here is how you treat another human being. And it's got to be demonic, to hate people, it's just demonic. But coming back to the music industry, probably one of the safest ones are the metalheads, to be honest with you, because a lot of these rappers, you'll hear things the things they do, like P. Diddy, a lot of these mainstream people, they sell out, and they'll get caught up in a trap. It's kind of like, they'll do what they can to get what they want, and then they'll get caught up in that trap and they can't get out,
Yeah. And I would even go as far as to say even a politician. Because I think anybody who wants to have some type of control over anybody else is somehow messed up in the head, bro.
Yeah.
I think the people who don't want to be the politicians are the one we should somehow and help out or push or whatever to be a politician, because those are most likely the best ones. But somebody who goes, yeah, I know what's best for these people. I listen to my constituents. It's weird.
Yeah. I don't even watch politics, man. I don't trust either side. I mean, I choose the lesser evil, but
yes,
it's my ex. She was not saying nothing bad about Trump, but she was Trump crazy. She worshipped a man, and she just took it too far. And she was too deep of a conspiracy theorist, because you can get caught up in anything, And
I consider myself to be a very deep conspiracy theorist, but I always try to. There's certain ones like like FE. I can't even say that on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
The plane in which we live on. To be honest with you, or to be not honest with you, to be cryptic about the way I'm saying it.
Yeah.
I don't really believe in that one. But there's ones that have come true. These click. Yeah. That one came true. And that one is true. And there's still people who deny it, which drives me crazy. Yeah. But I got it. But instead of being like angry about them, the hardest thing to do is to be loving, even towards people you disagree with. And I think if we all did that, man, it'd be so much easier. Yeah. Because people always want to tell you what you should be doing instead of like fixing themselves. Yeah. And they're always looking for love when they should be loving themselves. And that sounds egoistic, but it's not. Because the only way you can give love is if you're full of it and is overflowing. Exactly. So you go, I have so much that and you're good for me, and I love myself, so here's some love for you. I love you too. And if children, it's a completely different thing. Children, whatever. That's a whole nother ball of wax. Yeah. And that's where also science falls short in my mind. Like they'll say, oh, it's some type of chemical reaction in the mind, and that's why you love. No, dude. No. I don't experience it that way.
Yeah, not at all. Well, get back to supernatural. What on your show? What would you say that the most interesting experience you ever heard or you had on your show?
I can name two off the top of my head, so that's going to be the ones. I had an episode. It's way back in the day. His name was James Fatka. I actually reached out to him again because he said he wanted to talk to me some more, but there's some other things that was where he couldn't. Yeah. And so I respect that, but I just reached out to him. He lived in northern Indiana, and it was like a housing development where in between there would be like these cul-de-sacs, and it would be either a ridge or a valley between each little cul-de-sac. And so he was one night with his friend going from one cul-de-sac to another over a ridge line. And he heard, as he was walking, he heard like it sounded like something jumping off a diving board. You know what I mean? Like that kind of sound. And he looked over where the sound was coming from. It was a large branch, slightly no leaves on it. And it was just bouncing. And then as he walked a little farther, it was him and a friend of his. He looked up, and all of a sudden, he's seen this huge, like 10 feet, he described it as a 10-foot tall owl with a 30-foot wingspan that was headed right towards him. And it was like his face was, it was like silver, and his eyes were like glowing, coming right at him. And he was able to like get away from it, like roll away from it. It was still trying to get him, so he was like running around a tree, and it kept like flopping his wings.
Wow.
But we're talking 10 feet tall, 30-foot wingspan. So his friend is freaking out. They're just scurrying. It finally like gives up and goes and ends up in this tree on like the right side or whatever of where they were. And he sees this thing still in the tree with his back facing to him. And then he looks, and his friend goes, you know, James, and he's like, what, dude? He's fixated on this damn thing. He goes, look over there. And I, dude, what are you talking about? I'm looking at this thing. Look over there. Behind them on the other side, or to the left of them, or whatever it was, the other direction, there was about 4 or 5 of them that were about 4 to 5 foot tall.
Damn.
Just standing there looking at him too. And he freaked him out, dude, when he was, you know, you can tell someone's like, you know, like just really traumatized by something. Yeah. He was just chain smoking the whole time, sitting in his car. We were having issues, audio issues and stuff, but dude, that one and a recent one, I had a woman on. Her name is Owiza, and she's Northwest Native Tracker. You might have seen her on the on the lives that I do, and she's always on there. And I'm still reaching out to her again to get her back on. And she is she's a Native American. She's the last of her kind. That's what I called the episode, or something like that. At least that's the thumbnail. And how was it again? So she was a medicine woman. She was chosen to be a medicine woman because she was a double placenta, whatever that means. That's what she told me. Yeah. And so the medicine woman, which was her grandmother, said, you are to carry on our traditions, and if not, you come onto these shows and tell people who you trust these secrets. And so she did this thing, like this rite of passage, walkabout, however you want to call it. That usually takes a year, and they couldn't do it for a very long time. It was, not allowed by the United States government. And I think in 78, 79, they got the right to do it again, which is not a right anyway if the government can take it from you. But anyway, so she couldn't do it the whole time. So she would go out like on the weekends, and then during the week after school, she would go out, and she had to learn to survive out there by herself. And she said there's 3 different types of forest creatures, or as we would say, Sasquatch, Bigfoot. I can't remember the names. One's like the sun people or the sun-faced people. And then there's another kind, and then there's a real big kind. So the first kind are the ones that will trade with you, that are friendly and kind of leave you alone. And actually, sometimes maybe even take care of you and protect you. Then there's another kind that's the trickster kind that will try to ask you if you need help and then kind of grab you and take you away to hurt you. And then there's another kind that are really, really big, and they just go in and eat you. Damn. Okay? So she's out there. She made a bird weir. And I was like, I know what a fish weir is, but I was like, what's a bird weir? So she said it was a cave that she found. Her grandmother told her she would encounter these people. She made a bird weir, which is an upside down, like coniferous pine tree that she stuck in the ground. The birds land in it, and they can't get out because the limbs are now in reverse. Yeah. Right? Even though it's up, their brain doesn't. So she made a little bow, and she would try to get these little ground birds or birds that fly in the tree, and she had troubles. And then one of the sun-faced people, I can't remember the name of it, gave her like a ptarmigan, a grouse. Yeah. And so she would eat and da-da-da-da-da. And there was one time, so she went there, she was out doing something, came back, and she noticed that her bow was missing that she made. Yeah. And so this, it freaked me out, man. So she followed the tracks, because that's what they do. Native Americans are good at that shit. Followed it. It was like through this patch of woods, then over a ridge, and then down into a creek bed. And as she's coming down the ridge and starts walking along the creek bed, she hears something on her left moving around. She thinks it's a groundhog, or who knows, a deer, something up there. And she sees her bow in the middle of the creek on like a rock or something. So she walks out to the creek, picks up the bow. She turns around, and one of these, the second kind, the ones that are tricksters, leaned out from behind the tree and said, "Can I help you?"
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And when I said, they said it in English, she goes, yes. And I go, oh my God.
Wow.
So she said, no, you can't help me. Walked on in the creek and had to end up in this swampy area. And the other kind, the good kind that trades with her, were actually being a buffer between her and this thing that was trying to get her. And she's waist deep in like the swampy area with her bow above her head. And when she said, can I help you? Man, I didn't even see her, man. Wow. We can talk about it now. And there's many, many others. Many others, just the two off the top of my head.
Well, what do you think that Sasquatch is?
Man, okay. I don't know. So I had a gentleman on who told me that they told him what they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. It's through mind speak, which I think you've heard of before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he says they told him that they're interdimensional beings.
Yeah.
That come. So when you hear a tree knock, it's not actually them whacking a tree with a stick or with their hand.
Yeah.
It's actually a portal opening. That's what he's telling me.
Yeah.
Great. A great episode that's coming up actually in northern Minnesota. That's how I got in contact with the dude from Monster Quest.
Yeah.
That guy. And don't dropping names over here. Anyhow, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's more of a mystery than it is. So it appears to be both.
Yeah.
Okay. So if people don't know what that means, there's like two strongly taken positions on these. Some people say that they're just like, an undiscovered, like, some type of hominid that's somewhere along the line either split off from us or a different line because they have opposable thumbs and they live in the woods and they are the master of their domains, the master of hide and seek.
Yeah.
And somehow, but they'll also admit that somehow they mess with their electronic devices. So that's people leaning a little bit more towards the other camp, which say these things are interdimensional beings from who knows where. I tend to lean towards it's both.
Yeah.
I think they possess some type of either technology, I guess is the word we would use, but I would say some type of know-how that we do know, which is the fascination I have, but somehow forgotten. And I don't know. I've heard people say where they disappear right in front of them as they're walking.
Yeah.
Or there's people who have like footprints on their property in the snow, and you'll see where they start, and then there's no, it just starts in the place. There's these, footsteps that are almost in a line. They're almost in a line actually, and they're like 6 feet apart, and then they'll just stop suddenly too. So it's somewheres in between the two, and I don't know. Like the last gentleman I had on gave me a lot more questions than answers. They're like appearing in his house. They actually urinated in his hamper.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So like, and I don't know, man. I don't know what they are.
Yeah. I think they're just both. I kind of believe they're both. I believe that they're like you said, interdimensional beings, but when they're here, they kind of
take on the physical form.
Yeah, take on the physical form, and more physical the longer they stay here. Kind of like, just my opinion. If the longer they stay here, the more physical. So that's why they gotta, get out of here, jet out of here, so they can.
He was saying that they told him that. Like he said, okay, if you don't want me to try to videotape you anymore, then tell me somehow. Yeah. And they took like the camera, buzzed destroyed the card in it, drained the batteries, and like basically smacked it off its stand and put it in reverse. And I have pictures. She got me, but like they leave like a little white residue, and it's really strange. It's such a strange phenomenon, and people who don't believe that's fine, but don't be inhuman. Yeah, the things we were talking about. Your experiences are your own. You might have had a psychedelic trip. You might have had a dream that you can't explain after your grandmother died and she talked to you, which has happened to me as well.
Yeah.
Would it seem more real than real? So what am I supposed to tell you? It's not real and you're kind of a dummy? I don't know. That makes no sense. And if you want to look at it scientifically, let's go through the angle of statistics. Mm-hmm. Okay, that should help. Let's say in America, in the last 50 years, let's just say there's been 1,000 sightings, which has been a lot more than that. Let's just say 1,000. What are the likelihoods that none of those are real? Or what are the likelihoods statistically that one of them is real? And if one of them is real, then they are real, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that angle of approach for. You have to understand when you're talking to the audience, you have to kind of go through every angle to give people the ability to make their own decisions. And for people who are like scientifically minded, you know, they went to Brown and Ivy League. Well, you know, dude, you need to talk to people in the hollers of West Virginia and Arkansas and wherever you are. And you will find out some crazy, especially in Appalachia. And Arkansas is very Appalachia-like. It's like Appalachia 2.0.
Yeah, they have a lot of mountains here, and you know, they over in Oklahoma, southeast Oklahoma is notorious. And where I grew up, LaFleur County, Oklahoma, you know, they supposedly had the LaFleur and Bigfoot wars back in, I think.
What's LaFleur?
It's the county's name.
Oh, okay.
And if you look it up, I think it's called, if you just look up LaFleur County Bigfoot Wars, or LaFleur, it was a guy named LaFleur that supposedly had wars with Bigfoot, you know. And
I was talking, do you know Alfred Santariga?
No, I don't know him.
Contact him, Alfred Santariga.
Okay.
He's New York dogman. He's found where they actually stay in a swamp, and he said that he was telling the story. He was walking around this ridgeline somewhere in upstate New York, and he then went back like 2 weeks later, and he said, I don't know what did it, but it looked like he thinks it was Dogman and Bigfoot fighting. Like he said, the freaking trees were ripped out of the ground. It looked like it wasn't like clear cut. It just looked like something just smashed into, like, I don't know, man, like something like 3 acres of trees just destroyed and knocked everywhere. There's no wind, there's no storm, there's no nothing. Wow. And he had a lot of like Bigfoot activity up there and Dogman activity up there as well. So he's like, I don't know what it was, but if I had to take a shot in the dark, and he's legit too, man. He's legit. I actually called him about a certain situation, and he's like, don't worry about it. We're looking into it, dude. I'm like, thank you, bro. Because I had like this fear. I was worried about the people in the area, because this one guy came on and told me there was a decapitated deer. There was a gutted horse, and a dog had his leg ripped off in about a 200-yard stretch of place. And I was like, what county are you in? This is in Jersey, dude.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, it's this county. I said, okay, cool. That's all I need to know. Called Alfred. And he was like, dude, don't worry about it. We're on it. We're looking into it, because I was worried about the people. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Team human, baby.
Exactly. Well, what about Dogman? What is your take on Dogman?
My take on Dogman is I think there's like 3 different types. I think there's the one that is like that typical werewolf, I don't know what it is type, that maybe is like some type of military type crossbreeding something or other, that they maybe Giant of Kandahar brought over mixed with dogs, who knows. And then you have the one that looks similar, but it kind of can blink in and out of existence, kind of like Bigfoot, where it kind of just, I was talking to Daryl Denton, and he was with Martin Groves, and one just materialized right by his truck, and then dematerialized, and they both saw it. And then there's the other ones that have like the hyena face to them. And there's like, some people will describe them as like the way I described it when I was talking to I can't remember her name, Patina Moss. She's seen one time, and she was like, it was black, but it looked like that bulldog from Tom and Jerry. And so what I'm thinking is it looks like the hyena ones. You know what I mean? So that's what people are seeing too. So there's like 3 different types, but there's also some in between stuff too. But what they are, I don't know, man. You know, if you listen to Martin Groves' account, he'll say that they got that, they just screamed, and he couldn't move. Yeah. And he was just praying to Jesus, and he was able to finally move and discharge his weapon. And then as he was leaving, there was Bigfoot there too. Man. So
I know.
I tried to get him on. That didn't work.
I think that, there was a picture that Harley Owens had.
Yes. Oh my God! I'm one of the first people he sent that to, bro.
That's crazy, man.
He said, "I found this last weekend, Tom. What do you think?" I almost had to change my shorts. It is one of the best Dogman pictures you'll ever see in the world. Yeah. If you guys want to, I can't think. It used to be called Bigfoot Data and Reports. Now it's called Harley Owens Outdoors or something like that.
Something like that.
And I'm sure it's up there. I'm sure it's up there. Yeah,
it's that kind of looks like the short snout one, doesn't it?
Yeah, like the hyena faced one. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Whatever that is.
That is weird looking.
They are weird because his story was that he was walking with his, I think it was his father-in-law.
Some kind
turkey
of
hunting.
Yeah.
They were turkey hunting. And he hears it. He knows something's behind him. He just keeps walking along. And then they stepped out of this creek bed. And so it's like up maybe 6 feet, like, a little bank, an embankment there. They got out of that and got up. And his father-in-law goes, yeah, I think there's something behind us. He goes, I think something's been following us for about 20 minutes. Yeah. And he goes, really? Why didn't you say no? I didn't want you to freak out. And then he took his camera and he snapped 3 pictures like in a semicircle. And one of them, he captured whatever it was. And he said, we just stepped out of the area. So what you're seeing is the face in the whatever it is, that little incline there.
Yeah.
And so he said it was about 6-7 feet tall.
Yeah, that was amazing. That picture was.
I can't believe you saw that. That's awesome, dude. So you are dipping your toe over here in the weirdness.
I know Harley. I mean, we ain't super close, but I know him. We've talked, and stuff. But
we're pretty close. Yeah, I'm the one that helped him. I'm one of the ones that helped him get back in the woods again, man. Because when I talked to him, he was like, I'm not going back out there. Yeah. I heard and seen, he's got a picture of Bigfoot, dude, that will rock your world, dude. Where it's hanging out. Yeah. Like there's this thing where it's hanging out. He had a brand new iPhone at the time. First picture taken or whatever. iPhone, blah, blah, blah. But he still had the picture. And the screams, he showed the footprints. And he said, I am never going in the woods again. He actually quit his job. Because that's what he was doing. He had to go to sawmills and do auctioning off of the sawmill. And he ended up going into the city and taking a factory job. But I said, man, you got to get out there one way or another. Now he's doing it. He's like his influencer is like Scott Carpenter. Yeah. Very religious man. Yeah. Has the rear facing camera. And actually Jim Powell went with him to his area there in Eastern Tennessee. And they got some interesting footage. Jim Powell, The Night's Watch. Go and check it out, man. Yeah. The Enigma in the Smokies. Incredible video.
Yep, he does. Me and Jim buddies, that.
Oh, yeah, I know that. That's how I met you, through Jim.
Yeah. Jim's a good guy, man. Jim's going places like you are. I don't know.
Pushing.
I don't know if you've seen the footage that, I don't know if you know Steamboat or not. Steamboat's been on a few shows, and he's a moderator for Daniel's channel like me on the Cryptic Podcast, and he's got footage that his buddy sent him. This Bigfoot that's walking. It's it's at night. And there's a camera in the house, and it's walking by this fence. And this fence is 8 foot tall, so I don't know how big this creature is. I'll send it to you. But it's walking, and the guy, he had a trap that he was trapping raccoons on the back of his yard. And what he done was take, how those old refrigerators had those old thick grates, old refrigerators, back probably in the 50s or 60s, just the shelves, those shelves that you move in and out.
The metal ones.
Yeah. So the guy took the metal and welded it and made a trap, I guess, to get these raccoons. But on this film footage, and this creature's walking, it's Bigfoot, you can see it, but it seems like he phases in and out, but you can see him real good at certain frames. So he's walking, and he reaches down in a split second and just rips that trap open. You don't see him ripping the trap, but that's what he done, because he's got the raccoon. It rips the trap open like a sardine can and gets the raccoon and walks off.
Wow, you got to send that to me.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I had Barbara Shoop?
Yep.
Did you see that video? Did you see I interviewed her with the thing that she was out there showing her area, and this freaking thing comes out of the trees and runs along the ground away from there, and it looks like the Predator, bro. It's like part of the forest.
That. Crazy.
And then at the end of it, she goes, have you seen this video? And I'm like, no. Here, at the end, go ahead and add it on. She has this camera, dude. It does 60 pictures per second. Right? And this, she just says, oh, I'm videotaping. She has like this thing where she talks to him. And which I think is the way to go, actually. Yeah. And she goes, I'm taking a videotape, and you don't see it, and then she slows it down. It looks like a firefly on the left side, like a firefly just goes bloop and blinks out. Then she slows it down again. This is 5 frames of a 60 frame video of a second, and she slows it down, dude. You literally see 2 eyes blink into existence about that far apart, glowing. Wow. And then you can see it go, and then like the retina in the back, and then go away again.
Wow.
Just bloop, bloop. It's freaking incredible.
Yeah.
People say there's so many Bigfoot things and it's kind of boring. I find it to be even more and more fascinating the more I get into it.
Oh, yeah.
The more I learn about it.
Yeah, there's always something new. And, I understand there's AI, and I understand that, I think 9 times out of 10 I can tell which one's real and fake. I think that I'm no expert, but I could pretty well, look at it.
It's getting harder.
But it is, it's getting harder. And I think that the Patty film is what's sold me, man. When I see the muscles in the legs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
exactly what I was about to say. When you can see the muscles on that right leg when it turns its head, so its knee kind of turns out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it steps, and you can see the muscles wiggle all the way up through its thigh, and you go, "Oh, that's a suit." There's no suit.
No.
Oh, did you see the one with the braid? Where you can see the braid in its hair?
No, I don't think.
I had MK Davis on, and he showed me that, man. It's got a braid in its hair that's about 6 inches long.
Wow.
Here, like who would make a suit like that?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. He also has a video called The Fence Climber, and it was recorded by somebody else in the early 90s, where you can hear these chickens kicking off in the background. There's this fence, and the fence is about 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And you can see one just run along the fence line behind the fence in this like grassy area, and something freaks him out, something whatever, and it comes running back, and it steps over this fence, dude, like this. It keeps running, and it's 6 foot high, this fence, and he stepped over it like it was nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, but you got to show me that raccoon one, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll send it to you. It's something else, these things, seeing them 8, 10, 12 foot tall is, I couldn't fathom my mind, of seeing something like that. I don't know what it'd do, because I heard one roar at one time, and that dove me in worstest fear I've ever had. But dog, man, I don't think I'd want to see that, man. I don't think I could handle that.
No, I'm not into that either. I think I'd be okay to see a Bigfoot. I think I'd be all right with it. But I don't know how I would feel, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I don't know how I would feel. Because I know the paranormal is scary enough. Yeah. You've had plenty of that yourself.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, what in the heck? When I seen Hat Man, I wasn't afraid. I was in my mid-20s or early 20s.
Yeah, you want to tell that before I wrap it up?
Yeah. I got like another 20 minutes I can get up. Well, give me about 10 and I can get up out of here. Right. Yeah, dude. So I was in a metal band in Germany, and we were in this old abandoned building. And so we practiced up on the 3rd floor in the back corner. And so you have to walk down this hallway with these different fire doors with these, what do they call them? Bewegungslichtmelder. It's German. Like when you move, the lights come on, floodlights kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they do that to save money. So you get through these doors, and then you make a right turn, and then there's a door right there on the right side, and you walk in there, and that was my room. But if you keep going straight, that's like another stairwell that goes out the back as like a fire escape. So we're sitting there on the weekend trying to record for my band, and I'm sitting there in the chair looking at this doorway that comes in. The doors opens, the hallway is black, but like the light shining through, and it's kind of like so when it hits the wall on the other side of the corridor, there's like an angle to it, kind of like a rhombus.
Yeah.
And so we're just sitting there and talking, and I'm hearing like something walking down the hall and opening these doors. So I'm just thinking it's somebody else, and there's plenty of other practice rooms in there, and I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm just like, someone is going into the rooms. And about another 5 minutes passes, I'm like, why am I not hearing anything? Why are none of the doors open? And somebody the doors are these huge metal doors. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm looking. Someone just told me, kind of like, just happened to be looking at that door frame. And as I do that, this black figure with a hat, you couldn't see the very top of it because it's so tall, but you could see where it kind of went up, and then there was the door frame, and it just went right in front of the door. Blacker than black. Like, it looked like a cutout. It was so well defined.
Yeah.
So I told Rye that during the beginning. That's what I was telling him about. He goes, "Oh, you've seen the Hat Man." And I had to look that up. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So I looked it up, and I was like, that's exactly what I saw. So to give you guys a little bit of an idea, if you've never heard what it is, it's like a black figure. It looks like it's wearing like a duster or a long coat where you can't see its arms. or like you can kind of guess it has arms, and it wears this well-defined like Raiden from from was that Mortal Kombat, like that kind of hat, or Spy versus Spy, if you remember that is. Dick Tracy maybe a little bit, but not so angular on the top. Not a 10-gallon hat, but something in that, and it's been seen all over the world. And so I didn't know that at the time. I just couldn't believe what I saw. So I got up, and my friends were like, you know, all my German friends were like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I just saw something. I walked to the door, looked to the right because that's the way it went. So it went from the left to the right. So from the doors to the fire, to the back stairwell there, nothing was there. Looked to my left, nothing was there. It was the damnedest thing.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard of Hat Man, but I don't know what it is. You know, I've heard of people saying it, but you're the first person I've ever heard. And it's actually
like a witness did. Yeah, the witness did. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
it was one of those ones, man. There's the poltergeist one. There's the lights at the house. That maybe another time I can come back on. But yeah, it's been weird, man. But I think the older I get, the little easier it is for me. You know, it's especially speaking with gentlemen like yourself and many others, and to tell me their experiences. Like, okay, I don't feel so alone. That helps.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then having God in your life helps. Things like that.
It definitely does, Tom. I'll tell you this before I wrap it up. There's a guy out in Arkansas, done some work for him, done some paint work. This has been about 15 years ago. And he was showing me that his house was used to be an old way station back in Western days. I guess he showed me you could actually see the wagon wheel dips. I guess it was still well preserved, that through his land. But he was saying that when he first bought the house, that he found newspapers in the wall when Lincoln was assassinated. That's how old the house was. And he showed me a beam up under the house. He said, this beam's 140 years old, But he said, I don't know how we didn't even get on the subject. He told me this, that and this might be the same person, or it might be, but he said 2 different times, him and his son, there was a guy in a duster that came to him at night. He seen it. It might have been Hat Man, or at first I thought it was some old, cowboy, but it might have been the Hat Man that you're talking about. I mean, it could have been.
It hasn't been just me, man. It's been seen. The weird ones for me is when they see him outside. Like I was talking to a guy from the Monsters podcast. Can't think of his name right now. Robert Prevo. Yeah. And he was like, this thing was underneath a lamppost by a field, just staring at him. They're about 7 feet tall.
Jeez, man.
Pretty incredible, man.
I don't want to see. It's been a while since I've seen anything. I don't want to see nothing,
It's not that scary. They're not that scary, but they do. Sometimes they have red eyes. Sometimes they like to float over the bed.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you, Tom. But anyway, before I end it, you want to tell people where they can find you, Tom?
Yeah, man. First of all, Ashes, thank you for having me on, man. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it. And thank you for your service too.
No, thank you, buddy. Yeah, so the I Jupiter podcast, you can find me. You just type it into Google, and you got TikTok, all that kind of stuff. I don't really do too much over there. Instagram, I don't do much over there. Mostly on Facebook, the I Jupiter group. Go over, check it out. We have a lot of cool discussions, a lot of cool shows, and people that I'm in contact with. And the YouTube channel, man, just go over and check it out and MP3 it up and leave me a rating over on Spotify. I would really appreciate that.
Yep. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on and stuff. I really do.
It's been great, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody, I appreciate you watching the video, and make sure you go over there and check Tom out. He just told you where he's at. He's got a great group on Facebook and a very interesting channel. He talks about a lot of different stuff, and I'm telling you, you won't regret it. He's got some good shit. But anyway, I appreciate it, guys. Until next time, everyone, peace out.